All right, guys, we are at the tail end of our build here. The light is at the end of the tunnel, and I'm so excited that we finally found a solution to the last remaining problem on this build, and also feeling a little bit silly that the last problem was just the matter of the handlebars, the grips, and the handguards. But I'm gonna walk you through exactly why that became an issue and how we solved it. You can see here, no handlebar on the bike right now. And the reason that this became an issue at all is because we had the challenge of putting a steering stabilizer on there. So we did get a steering stabilizer mount from HRT in Germany that works with the Scott stabilizer that I already have. So that was the good news. The mount is a sub-bar mount, and that means you're gonna have to run some pretty tall risers, and that also means that you're gonna need to replace the bar with something with a shallower bend, so that not only do you not throw off the geometry of the rider triangle, but also so that you don't have to run longer cables or stretch the controls. They still need to reach the same spots. You don't want less slack, you don't want more slack. So that means running an aftermarket bar. With HRT, Hessler Racing Team in Germany, they kind of already have all of this figured out. So he was good enough to just send me a bar that's going to work, offsetting the bar riser mount against the stock handlebar. So you can see what we got here. Silver is the stock handlebar, black is the aftermarket handlebar. So you can see here the discrepancy between the two, and that's gonna make up the difference of the bar riser itself. But the problem, the challenge that we had was still being able to mount all of our controls, because as I continue to find out, doing a build on a street bike is not anywhere near as simple as doing a build on a motocross bike, where a bar is a bar and the controls just kind of slide right on and off. Not the case with this bike. One of the elements that we need to have, you gotta drill your holes in order to mount the switch blocks, because those need to stay stabilized on the bar. So we had to drill those out on our aftermarket bar, no problem. But the problem became when we wanted to run the stock handguards, which is gonna wrap around, they're plastic wraparounds, and they bolt into the end of the bar. And on the stock unit, you can see here, it's just going to thread into the end. It's just built into the bar there. Well, with the aftermarket handlebar, we don't have any threads in here, obviously. So we were at an impasse here. We couldn't find a way to mount the stock bar ends, these are weighted bar ends that help absorb vibrations. Would have been great to hang on to these, but understood that it wasn't going to be as simple as threading them into the end of this bar. So maybe it's just easier if we go with some different aftermarket handguards. Well, it's nearly impossible, in my experience, to find wraparound handguards that do not have any metal in them. I really don't like the metal in the wraparounds because I mean, don't try to tell me that I'm wrong. I've done the research myself. I really feel that the aluminum piece inside the handlebar adds rigidity and vibration to the bar itself. I've had this experience many times on dirt bikes. Certainly don't want to do that on this bike. I like, again, part of the purpose of this build, I really didn't want to lose the comfort factor of this bike. I still wanted to find a way to retain some of that road comfort that I also really love about the V-Strom 800DE. So when we came up short on trying to find different plastic wraparound guards, I thought, all right, well, why don't we just go back to finding a way that we could still run the stock units? And I also, during that time, had just run without any handguard and did notice that maybe after an hour or so on the freeway, I was getting a little bit of the buzziness in the hands. And that's what these bar end weights can really help to absorb. So that kind of sealed it for me. I wanted to go back to finding a way to mount these to my aftermarket bar. So one of the options that I tried, I know from the past from putting wraparound guards on motocross bikes, that all you need to do is have a handy little insert such as this, something from a Cherbys. It goes right into the end of the bar. Then this bolt screws in, and that can secure your wraparound plastic, metal, whatever. So ordered this online, got it home. It's not even close to fitting. So that wasn't an option for us either. And couldn't exactly find these in different sizes either. Maybe I didn't look hard enough. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. It was also really important to me that we find something that was going to be the exact thread of the bolt that we wanted to use for the stock bar end weights. Because if we put something narrower in there, technically that would work to secure it, but you might hear this rattling around in there, which kind of defeats the purpose of having it in there to help smooth out vibrations, right? So what we did was just reach out to a machine shop here in San Diego. My now good buddy Peter, who works at TNT Weld, was kind enough to stop what he was doing and help me out. So what he came up with, a very simple solution here, and this is probably going to look familiar to a lot of our moto friends, but these little just 45-degree wedge, so he machined these, painted them for me, and these can go on. This one is going to slide on first, then we put this second one on. Once it's all together, bam, here you go. Now this is going to fit into either end of the bar. And then when we tighten the bolt, it's just going to tighten these little wedges against each other. They're going to slide against each other, which is going to press it against the inside of the bar, and it's going to secure it. So really great system here. It's just simple, lightweight, and we didn't have to weld anything on the bar, which is fantastic. And if we ever needed to, we could take these out and stick them in another bar. So really pumped on this solution. If you're looking for anything similar, hit up my guy Peter, link down below in the description, check him out. So now that we have all of our pieces in hand, we can go ahead and put this back together. You can see my ingenious painter's tape here. That was just a solution to hold this together so that when we remove the bolts, it doesn't crumble into 17 different pieces and come crashing out. So it only took me about 4 or 5 times of taking this on and off to figure that out. Anyway, we should be just a few moments away from putting this all back together. Got some new grips to put on, putting the stock handguards back on, and we are going to be ready to roll with my V-Strom 800DE build. So excited.
All right, guys, that's it. We are done with this build. Actually, I don't know. Is a project bike ever done? I don't know. Stay tuned. There might be more stuff coming. There probably will be heated grips. There might be heated grips coming. Anyhow, the build that we set out to do is now standing before me. I'm so excited. I'm pumped on how this bike turned out. Thanks so much for joining me on the journey of this build. I hope this gets you excited about the 800DE, or just excited about adventure riding in general, or excited about taking something that has potential and building on it and really drawing out the exact bike of your dreams that you want. Because there is just nothing better when it all comes together and it's exactly the bike you wanted. So that's where I'm at here with this one. It wasn't easy. There was some unexpected twists and turns in the road, and it kind of turned out that some of the smaller details on the bike, such as the tail tidy and putting on the steering stabilizer, turned into such a bigger project than I was expecting. But you know, we stayed in it, we got it all together, and added in some last minute parts like this, this little windshield visor extender from Poog that has been really great. So more on that later. But yeah, now it's just time to ride.